Welcome back, everybody, to the Prepared Mind channel. It's been a while since I've done a driving video, but I thought, hell, why not today? I got the Green Beast back on the highway and need to kind of take it for a test drive. So I wanted to talk to you guys about the sense of being trapped. I was talking with my younger son today, and he's like, Dad, I work and I work and I work, and I can't get a break. You know, it seems like I work so that I can work some more. I said, well, welcome to real life, son. You're now, you're trapped. And it just kind of really got me thinking about, you know, what it is we're dealing with here. You know, I've heard people say, you know, shit isn't going to hit the fan. I've heard people say, yes, it is going to hit the fan. And I've heard people say, well, you know, you're a prepper, you're all set, you got everything, man, you're good. And it's like, well, you know, we're still trapped. We're still part of this. The people in charge, the politicians, the aristocrats, the corporations, and the banks, they have trapped us all. They have trapped us in this world that requires the use of trucks and cars and trains and planes. They've trapped us in this system of using their money and going in debt in order to pay for things, you know, basically enslaving ourselves to them. They've trapped us, or rather we've trapped ourselves. It's incredible what has happened to the human species here on Earth. We're looked at by these people as property, as slaves, literally. You know, they may or may not use those words directly, but the fact of the matter is we're all trapped. Even preppers are trapped here. The difference between preppers and non-preppers is the non-preppers don't know that they're trapped. The non-preppers think they got a good bead on things, that everything is going to be A-okay. Right, that if they just work a little harder or learn a little more, get that next little degree, that everything will be fine and they'll be okay. You know, 100 years ago, 200, 300 years ago, you could leave the country you were in if you were lucky, and you could escape. You could run away. You know, go to a new distant land like America, Australia, South America, Africa. All of these places are now, they're not freedom, they're all prison. They're people prison. And we're trapped. You can't, there's nowhere to run to. Right? There's government everywhere, and everybody everywhere wants taxes, and they want ownership of you. And I'm not doing this video to take hope away, but rather to give hope. As a prepper, we might just be lucky enough to survive what is coming. This giant shit it's the fan nightmare, it's coming. And we might be lucky enough to live through it, and maybe there's freedom on the other side. Maybe it's there. You know, what truly is freedom, right? It's not being owned and controlled by these people. That's what I'm hoping, you know, to get out on the other side of this for. But right now, we are definitely trapped. There's just the idea, the concept of freedom is something that exists not for everyone, but just for a few of us, you know, a percentage of people. For the others, right, they don't mind being slaves as long as they think they're being taken care of. And who is that, right? That's the socialists. They want government to take care of them. They want other people responsible. But what is it that they're doing? What they're doing is they're creating these social systems. Not just socialism political, but socialism as in society's rules for itself. And changing those dynamics can be done with laws. They can be done with propaganda, which is the media. They can be done with court systems which enforce the rules, the laws of society. By co-opting that, no longer, right, will people say, oh yeah, you can make your own decision. They're going to do what the courts tell them to do instead of being free. Right? We have social norms. You can't bully. You can't make fun of. You can't expose. You can't criticize. By creating those systems, changing them, making them what we're seeing today, what have they done? They've tightened the noose around our necks. They've shrunk the size of the cage down, right? They've hobbled us, and they've blinded us as people, as a whole. That's what they've done. I mean, you look around, you look at what these little nitwit college kids are doing. They're not helping themselves. They're enslaving themselves. And I implore you, go watch 1984, the movie. It's based on George Orwell's novel. And they talk about taking language away from us. Taking language away from the people so that they don't think anymore. And they go, you know, language doesn't come from here, it comes from down below, right? And they point to the stomach, the guttural, right? Only your basic needs matter. You don't need to think up here, right? Thinking is not freedom. Thinking is slavery to them. Thinking gets them in trouble. Thinking makes life harder. They just need to do as they're told. It's the exact opposite. Everything that they're doing is literally the exact opposite. People say they want to be free, and government promises, you know, we'll take care of you. You'll be free of worry about having to feed yourself. Right? But it's the exact opposite. Everything is the opposite. Right? No bullying. Well, who does all the bullying now? The people who say no bullying. The whole world is upside down. The whole world is backwards. It's on its head. Right? I can't imagine an intellect that is willing to put itself in the slaughter pen and wait its turn to be slaughtered. In so many ways, people are now like cattle, just like cattle. You know, when you look at cattle, look at cows out in a field. They're being fed green grass, right? Some of them, they get milked all day long, or they get milked, right? They go to work eating hay, and they get milked. And the cows are happy and fat and sassy. And then other cows, right, they're raised, right? They get their nuts chopped off. They get castrated. And then what happens? They're fattened up for the slaughter. What an appropriate analogy for humanity right now. And those cows are convinced the farmer loves them. Absolutely convinced that farmer loves me. He throws food out for me every day. Fodder, right? Food. That's what humanity is doing. The government is throwing them free food. They think the government's protecting them. The government only protects its own cattle for its own slaughter pens, for its own milk houses. Right? They don't realize that, you know, the cow, all the cow is doing is buying time before it is slaughtered. When the cow quits producing milk, guess what they do with it? Right. Right? It's not put out to pasture and allowed to live a good long life. No, the cow is pumped up on steroids and hormones to fatten them and make them produce more milk. They're trapped, absolutely trapped. That is what we are for government. Government sits down and says, how much money can the people pay us this year? And that's how much we're going to spend, and then some. We're going to create more cows, and we're going to raise them up, and then we're going to slaughter them, and we're all going to have a big fat feast. That is what humanity has become, a feast for these people. So knowing that's my fate, why do I smile? Am I ignorant? Am I stupid? Why do I continue to smile? Because I actually have some hope. I'm going to go with that little bit of hope I have, knowing that they're causing shit to hit the fan. They are absolutely and utterly destroying this world that we live in. And when that happens, that's like turning lambs loose to the wolves. These socialists, these mind-numbed idiots who couldn't fight their way out of a paper bag, literally. These people who are offended and upset at every turn. They literally are. They get upset if you say something offensive. They believe that they have a right to not be offended, and that you and me, we have to do everything we can to comfort them and to provide comfort. That they shouldn't have to experience hardship or difficulty. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible. They're going to be the ones who die first. Government itself is going to die. It cannot live, right? It can't live. It's like these corporations that produce $1 million in profit every year, but they have $2 million in loans to pay back. They're zombies. They cannot live. Government is a zombie institution, and it's going to have to die. The big question we have as preppers is, one, can you survive your way through it? Right? You know, are you prepped enough? Can you survive your way through it? And two, what kind of government is going to be on the other side? That is a big fat question. I know that years and years ago, the exodus from the United States started. It started because Obama wanted to tax people who were expatriating. That is, people who made their living here in America and got enough money and said, you know what, I'm out of here. I'm going to try fleeing to one of those other countries, like South America, Central America, Australia, India, Africa, wherever they thought they were going. They thought they were going to flee with their wealth. And the government, Obama, said, no, we're going to tax you for taking your money out of the country. Even though they'd already been taxed on the income. This is what the government does. It knows that it's going down. It knows it can't survive. But I think that the wealthy people, and they don't have to be uber wealthy, they just have to be wealthy enough, meaning they have the means to get out, and smart enough, meaning where can they go? Well, for us PO folks, our plan is to form prepper communities, right? Prepper groups, and survive our way through it. I guess we're going to find out the hard way, aren't we? Because there is no escaping it. We are truly trapped on this planet, right? This plane of existence. We're stuck in this dimension of dementia by government and by other people. And can you imagine a world? Just try and imagine a world with no Republicans. Try and imagine a world with no libertarians. Try to imagine a world where people aren't willing to work and work hard, and people aren't willing to make things better and to try harder and to innovate and create and invent. Imagine that world, because that would be the world without Republicans, without free thinkers. Right? The radical notion that the human mind can be free and free to think on its own. If the world was nothing but socialism, it would extinguish itself. Much the way we saw in those meetings, right, where the liberals, the Socialist Party of America, argued with each other over how they were referring to each other, what pronouns they were using, and how offensive they were to each other. That is the world of socialism. It's a complete dystopian nightmare where they can't even get along with themselves. How could they possibly hope to survive without us? Those of us who think and work and create. It can't. It's got to come to an end. Know that you're trapped, but know that there's a way through it and onto the other side. Think about your situation, where you're at, how you think it'll play out. It's good to think about that and understand there is the other side. You know, are you going to quit? Are you going to push on? Are you going to succeed? Are you going to fail? Right? You have to choose now, just like you've chosen your whole life, just like I have. Are you going to quit? You going to roll over? You going to give up? Or are you going to put your head down and keep kicking some ass? I mean, really, that's all we've got. We are trapped. Completely and totally trapped. And these people in charge, they are complete and total buffoons. They have allowed this system to take over because they think they can control it. But they're just parasites. And when there's no host for the parasites, what happens to the parasites? Essentially, that is shit hitting the fan. Right? When there's nothing left to feed the parasites. Anyways, maybe parasites can live on each other for a while. Or a short while. Anyways, you guys be cool. Chance favors the prepared mind. It is yours. I want you to have a great week. It is going to be one hell of a week. We've got a lot of surprises in store for us. There's a lot of chatter out there in all the back networks about some activities coming. I wish I knew. I just know that the chatter is up. Right? We've got more Antifa coming up. We've got more Hong Kong. We've got all kinds of crap this week that's going to be happening. The Federal Reserve, right? They're saying mum is the word. I don't think so. They got a lot to say and do. We got some trouble. But basically, shit hitting the fan comes down to you and your neighborhood, that 10-mile radius around your house, right? The government, they're a problem. The socialists are going to be a bigger problem, I think. And they're just showing us how ignorant they are and how willing they tend to be violent. So get prepared, right? Go to the preparedmind.club and get your preps. Get ready, folks. Godspeed to all. Semper Fi.